Dude, that's so my bad. I thought Joe would have sent it, to be honest. I thought you'd have it.
No, no, it's all good.
That's so fun. Well, so I was on the wrong link by accident too. I was like on a call from yesterday, thinking it was today. So I'm like, where the heck are these guys? So then I switched it. And I'm like, oh, and we're still off.
Yeah.
Uh, Gluter, are you on right now? I'm gonna text a couple other guys quick and see if they're popping on.
Who is on right now?
Looks like just Chase Clute. He's a hockey player from Minnesota. Which actually really good connection. So I'm glad. Even if it's just him, it will be really good. Uh,
Minnesota.
Good old Minnesota boy. Unlike you Texas guys.
Wait, Minnesota.
Just a good Eden Prairie guy.
Eden. Where's that out of the cities?
It's like 20 minutes. 20 minutes outside. Not too far, you know.
212 training. Let's go. Gee. All right, you go, buddy.
What's up, fellas?
What up? Do you hear
Yeah,
us?
sorry. Yeah, I got you. Can you hear us?
Get on the TV. Sorry, one more second.
No, you're good. You guys take your time.
Oh, feedback? All right, never mind. Yeah, there you go. What's up? Is it just us on here?
Dude, it might just be us tonight. Which
Yeah.
actually isn't a bad thing because you guys need to meet LaPinta. He's a stud.
Love it. Love it.
It's a good connection. Uh yeah, who's all at the house right? You guys at Tyler's?
This is Halsey. We're at Tyler's house. There's some people in the basement, just other like youth students, but not many hockey guys came tonight, so I was a little bummed, but it's all good. We got me and
All
Halsey,
good.
so
Right on. Well, if there's any other kids, I mean, he's a hockey player, but if there's anybody else that wants to hop on, they don't have to play hockey technically.
yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, if other guys hop on, great. If not, we're just gonna get rolling for tonight. So, I know most of you guys kind of know me already, but Nolan Sullivan started 12-2 training with one of my best friends in Omaha, and really with the heart to just help athletes, whether that be high school athletes, college athletes, to just maximize their game, mainly through the mental side, but also helping with the physical aspects too, whether that be nutrition, weight plans, all that good stuff. Just to really make sure our athletes are at our best. So part of that has been doing these group calls, and we just started them last month. And so I would say they're kind of gaining momentum, but this is probably my favorite Monday of the month where we bring on a guest speaker. So last week we talked a little bit about integrity and just what that means to us, one as a company, but two as athletes, like how do we actually live, really in a chaotic world when you think about like the high school landscape where like, hey, if you're not getting the playing time you want, like it's pretty easy to, bounce schools and go somewhere else. And same thing in college, like the transfer portal, all that stuff is kind of all over the place. So really, I think today more than ever, there's a pretty big challenge to live with integrity, especially as believers and as Christians, really live out our faith, not only in the classroom and with family, but also at the rink and with friends as well. So a guy that I think does a super good job of that's going to be speaking tonight and sharing a bit of his story is Chase LaPinta. So Chase and I got to know each other this summer a bit. He's a freshman at Omaha, but I think has a pretty unique story and can just really bring a lot of wisdom to you guys, especially as you go through your high school season and get geared up to go for a little state title run. So from there, Chase, I'll let you take over, and then we'll have plenty of time to kind of bounce some questions off them and all that good stuff at the end.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. He introduced me, but I'm Chase LaPinta. Yeah, I'm a freshman at Omaha, and it's actually a pretty crazy story how I got here. I was committed to Arizona State since I was 16 till this summer. I was committed there and really had never had peace about going there in that situation there. So throughout the summer, like they were still like you're planning on me coming in, and then right at the end of the summer they committed a young kid from Wisconsin, and had him coming in. And so for me, it kind of pushed me back. And throughout that entire situation, it was kind of, for me, could be reckless. Like it could have been completely chaotic. And I think for me, it was just finding that peace within the Lord throughout the entire situation, and just understanding that maybe it wasn't the right thing for me to go to Arizona State. And it's kind of cool for me to kind of see how that kind of unfolded. And coming here and getting into it right away, like we had 15 guys at a Bible study. That was something that you don't really hear about often in a hockey culture. So I think that was something that, like, it just kind of opened my eyes to why like that happened and the whole situation went down. But yeah, I got asked by Soli to just talk about integrity this night or tonight, and just kind of what that looks like, and what it means to me a little bit. So one of the things I have is just like, with integrity, like just being honest. I mean, just being truthful and being doing everything right and doing everything that is the right thing, even when no one's really looking or no one's around, or you think you can get away with it. Like being truthful with what you say, your intentions, and everything that you put into something. Like being truthful with that is something that's so important to integrity. And it's something that we talk about a lot here. Like, are we doing the right thing when no one's looking on the ice? Are we doing the right thing when no one's looking after the ice, off the ice, in the locker room, in the weight room? Like, are we doing everything? And even as Christians, like, are we doing the right thing when no one's looking? Like, it's so easy to be public and be a good guy when you're in front of a lot of people or in a group. But what are you doing when you're alone in your room, or when you have that quiet time? Are you using that for something to kind of grow your faith, or are you using it to something that is just kind of pulling you away from that? So that's something that's, I think, pretty basic, but something that you can really get into and get deep with. I think another thing too that is huge is accountability for integrity. Like to have the accountability to own up for your actions and mistakes. Like none of us are perfect. None of us are going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes on the ice. We're going to make mistakes as humans. We're never going to be perfect. And I think understanding that and having a mindset to be more of a mindset to have growth within those moments of mistakes, and using those moments to learn from kind of what we did, instead of like looking back and dwelling on like how we could have changed it and what could be different from then. Like using those moments to grow from that and kind of understand that there's something deeper to it and there's a reason that it happened, and it's not like you're not going to be perfect every time on the first try. So just learning that like those mistakes have a reason and have a purpose for you, instead of just allowing that to kind of hold you captive and dwell on that. I think it's easy to get kind of hung up on mistakes, and even like today I still struggle with it. Like past weekend, like plays don't go your way, it's so easy to get caught up in the moment and just hold on to that and let it just ruin your night or ruin your next days. Like just allowing that to like look into it, learn from it, and move on is something that I've found that has helped me tremendously and helped me grow as a human just in the few months that we've been here in Omaha. Another big thing that I have down is consistency. Consistency and doing the right things. You can't always be consistent. You're not going to be you're not going to have your A game every single day. You're not going to be a perfect human every single moment. But if you're consistently trying to do the right thing and consistently having a good attitude and being a good person in the locker room and being there for teammates or anyone that kind of needs you to be there for them, I think that's something that like goes into integrity, because it's so easy just to be like, well, I know I'm not perfect, so I'm just going to take a day off from being a good person today. Or I'm not perfect, so today I'm not going to be the hardest working guy on the team. Or just any little thing that like it's easy to push off for a day because it's not the easy thing to do. So I encourage you guys to be consistent in the things that aren't easy but are completely controllable, is something that I think you'll find a lot of like people look up to you in those moments. And I know there's guys on our team that consistently show up and have a smile on their face and consistently show up and are there working their bags off and just really trying to grow their game. And then even away from that, like some guys that are consistently working to grow the relationship with the Lord, and guys that are just consistently in their word, or talking to someone that they know has wisdom, and just seeking that wisdom, or seeking that that knowledge from other people. I think like just consistently, and that will lead to so much more integrity in your life, and it'll lead to so much more good things that come out of it. And then something that I have that is kind of overlooked in a way is respecting kind of what someone tells you. So like there's a lot of times where you get one-on-one with a guy like on your team, or one-on-one with a friend or anything, and they tell you something that like might be a little deep, a little personal, because they trust you with what they're saying. And so like what integrity looks like in that is truly respecting what they say and keeping that behind, like between you and them. Because I think like it's happened to me before. I'm sure I've done it before. But like when someone tells you something that's like personal, and something that like you know they're not telling to everyone, it's always the worst when someone goes behind, like after talking to them personally, and then they share it to a bunch of other people, and then or make a joke about it in front of other people. And I think that is like, it sucks. It's getting stabbed in the back in a way. So I think like having the integrity to like respect what someone tells you, and hold on to that between just you and them, and keep that between you and them, and use that as a moment to like grow the relationship with that certain person, because they're trusting you with something that's important to them, and something that's personal to them. So allowing that to be a building block for that relationship, to grow that relationship even further. And then something that I struggled with a little bit this year is just fairness. Like talk to, like when you get somewhere and it's a place, a culture like hockey, mostly like that I've noticed is just like there's the good players on the team that like put up the points, put up all the numbers, and usually that's where most of the attention draws to, is like the guys that are producing, the guys that are putting up points, or the guys that are usually the most vocal, and the guys that get talked to the most. And so I think like integrity like plays a role in that, because it's important to connect to everyone. I think is so important. Like make everyone kind of feel like they have a role and have a say in the team. Because I know for me, like at the beginning of the year, it was tough because there's some guys on our team still that, like, if you're not a guy that's top in points or playing every night or whatever it may be, you're not really getting talked to by those people. And so it kind of sucks to feel like you're left out in certain ways in that aspect. So I think like the more that we can include everyone and really make a conscious effort to reach everyone on our team, even if, for example, they're a little crazy, or someone that maybe you don't think you'd get along with well, like even giving that effort, giving them the time of day, just talk to them, ask them how their day is, ask them to get coffee, like ask them anything, and just kind of get to know it. Because more than likely that person is struggling, and they're just trying to find ways out of it, or they feel left out, and they don't feel like anyone really cares that much about them. And so I think if you really pour into them and fill their cup, they're going to bring a different kind of life to the rink, which has a bigger impact on the rest of the team than I think you can really imagine. And then another thing I have down is just committing to everything, like doing everything well, and committing to doing everything well. It's so easy to, like in practice, for example, take a drill off, like, oh, I don't like this one, it doesn't look like it'd have a great impact on me, so I'm just not going to do it well. But realistically, there's bits and pieces of every drill that you do that you can take from that and apply it to something in your game, or something that you want to get better at. And there's always a way to get better through everything. Even if it's not physical, you can get better at your attitude during a drill. If you can be better with enthusiasm, you can be better at encouraging, you can do something well and something that you don't have to enjoy. So I think like that's something big, is like, even if you don't enjoy something, find a way to make an impact on your life and an impact on others, and do it well, because it's easy to take things off and just push stuff to the side. So I think the more that we do something well and really be intentional with that, we're going to see growth in ways we really couldn't think we had. And then the last point I have that I think is super important for integrity is just addressing someone not living up to the standards. Like if there's someone in the locker room that you see is just taking off or moping around or just slacking in different ways, and you notice that, it takes a lot of integrity to like address that, but at the same time not call them out and make them feel like worthless for what they're doing. Instead, bring a different light to that and bring encouragement, or call, like we like to say, is call them up, not call them out, because you're calling them up because you know they're better than what they're giving. So not calling them out because they're doing something wrong, but call them up to something that they can do better and encourage them through that and give them that motivation to improve those moments of their life or improve those actions or the attitude or anything that it can be. But that's something that, like, it's not easy to have hard conversations, but if you can get good at having those hard conversations and do them in a way that's positive for others, I think is going to be such an important and such a moving way, because people start to look up to you, and people start using the way that you talk to people and address people that aren't living up to the standards that you have set, is going to be something that kind of changes the way the locker room is, or changes the way that your friend group is. Because if you're calling someone up instead of calling them out, it allows them to not be bitter or angry that you called them out in front of a bunch of other people. So maybe that looks like just pulling them to the side, or just grabbing them one-on-one in a moment and just being like, hey, like, I know you got better than this. Like, you're better than this. You've shown you have better than this. Like, is something going on? Make it personal. Like, ask them questions. Like, is there something going on? Anything I can do to personally help you, or make you feel better about the situation? But that's something that I've seen people do a really good job of, but I've also seen people do a really bad job of. So understanding that there's a good way to talk to someone about this and a bad way is a big thing, because you don't want to be the guy that just calls people out all the time. Because a big thing that I've noticed, or big thing that I know that everyone does, is no one's going to be perfect all the time. So, like, you can't get mad at someone for something that you know you've done. Instead, help them see what they're doing and give them ways that helped you get out of that same situation or the same mindset, to allow them to get out of that mindset so that they can grow from it and learn from it. And then eventually they can turn into someone that can start giving the motivation and allowing people to help them get out of that same situation that they were in. So that's kind of what I got for integrity and what it looks like in the locker room or friendships. But you guys got any questions? Open up for questions.
I got a lot of questions, but I'm gonna toss it to the boys. What do you guys got? So, like, just a background for you, Chase, too. Like, they're both captains at Eden Prairie, like both going through it with that desire to play college, play junior hockey, sign on, all that good stuff. So
Sweet.
Yeah, they're in the thick of it, baby. Going for a Minnesota State title.
Oh, probably the best trophy you can win, I'd say.
Besides your Texas State football trophy, it's probably second.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, that was great, Chase. Thank you. First thing that like comes to mind for me is like throughout your years of like juniors and now getting to college, like how do you still like obviously at Omaha it's nice because you got like a Bible study and a bunch of like guys super strong in the faith, but like throughout juniors, like how could you like stay strong and like obviously keep that integrity while also like showing your faith to others, you know, like
Yeah.
because it's obviously juniors is like a pretty dark place. Like there's not many believers in juniors, but like,
Yeah.
how was your experience there?
So fortunately my first year I played in Minot, and our team was we had 12, 13 guys that were believers. So I was fortunate at that situation. But my next year in Dubuque, like USHL guys usually, especially, aren't believers. But it was cool for me because it kind of gave me something. What I did was I kind of dropped away from the team on like Sundays and like Wednesdays, and I served at the church and kind of built a community at the church. So then, but sorry, my roommates are being loud.
Oh, I thought that was the guys at the house. I didn't know those are your
No,
roommates.
that's Kevin, our goalie. He's like something's gross because he's acting like he's throwing up. But no, but I got super, super involved with like the church and Dubuque and kind of built a community from there. Um and then with that, like you have those people that you can kind of lean on, like you have older people that have a little bit more wisdom that can kind of pour into you. And for them, it's usually like the coolest thing ever. Like if you go in and you're like, yeah, I play for this team and I love the Lord. They usually like take you in with open arms and are like pumped because they don't get really anyone from any of the teams that are usually big believers. So like when you have that and you go up and you show up to church and you try and get involved and you talk to someone, like they really like enjoy that and love to see that because they don't get that often. So like for me, I got super involved in like the family that I got like super involved with at the church in Dubuque actually just came out to see me this last weekend. So like it's those people that will go the extra mile for you at the church that like just adore you. And usually those people are at your games on Friday, Saturday nights. So like that's my biggest encouragement is like um find that community, find that church that kind of feels home and feels like home. And then also like something too is like find a church that's got like a college ministry. I think is like a big thing because you're not in college, but you can go to a college ministry and it's super cool and it's super good way to like meet people from different spots and like get into a spot that like you're not locked to the hockey side of juniors because it's so easy to get focused in on juniors and like all it is hockey where like you can look at it from a different perspective like you don't have to focus on school and hockey, so now you can focus more on the Lord and hockey instead of school and hockey and try and balance three things instead of now you only have two things that you can balance. So it gives you like a lot of downtime to kind of really dig deep and like really find the Lord and find what the Lord has to offer for you in that season of your life. And then two, like just using the things that kind of are filling you up from church, use what's filling you up to kind of pour that out to the guys on your team. Because usually like guys for me, like they would come up to me in juniors and be like, so like what's going on? Like how are you happy? Like we're on a 4-week bender. Like we've lost 8 games straight and you're sitting here smiling at the rink. It's like, well, like if my identity's not here at the rink, like I get to go home and there's something bigger for me there than hockey at the rink. And so then you get to kind of like share your faith really to the guys that want to know it because they'll come and talk to you about it if they want to. But then just like your actions too at the rink, like it's so easy to like kind of just conform and fit in. So I think like the more that you can almost stand out in a way that you're just bringing the light of the Lord is a cool way to like get people to kind of turn their heads and just kind of wonder what's different about you. And then through that, like you'll start being able to share your story and just bits and pieces, and people will know you as the Jesus guy. But kind of, I like the big thing is to embrace that. Like, don't let that be like, oh, they just think of me as this guy, but just embrace that and let that like lead you because that's ultimately what your identity's in. So that's what I got for juniors. I mean, it's definitely a dark place, but you can find a lot of light in it too as well.
Yeah, that's all good. That's great stuff. I mean, Alex and I, we both tendered to Fairbanks for next year, so we'll be heading up to Alaska, hopefully there's some good community up there. I don't know. It might be,
Fairbanks.
yeah, there might be a few tribes, but Tyler just said he's got some connections up there, so hopefully
Sweet.
he'll pull
Yeah.
through find a somewhat normal church. But
Yeah.
yeah, it should be good. Obviously we're strong in our faith right now, so I mean, just like can't wait to see what God's gonna do, like
Absolutely.
through us going to this junior team, and like they're losing a lot of older guys, so like just the fact that somebody just stole my hat,
I
but
say,
oh, it's Mark. All right, you're good. All right, now I just lost my train of thought, dude. Come on. But no, yeah, just excited to see like what he's gonna do. Like we're like right now we're like bringing revival to our high school. Like there's
yeah,
just
that's
tons and
awesome.
tons of guys like coming to the Lord. Like a couple weeks ago, we had like 7 of our close buddies get baptized, and like
That's
it's just
awesome.
super cool to see. And yeah, this guy right here too that's Rio. He's just an absolute goon. Um, no, yeah, we're excited for this next year, and like yeah, again, just seeing what the Lord's gonna do. And I really like what you said about like the integrity in the locker room part of like, like we're obviously like top guys, but like what about like the swing line guys or the third liners who like
Yeah.
aren't getting that recognition, aren't like getting the attention from coaches, and like they're
Yeah.
working their tails off every day, but like they really get nothing in return. And like that's kind of where I was like sophomore year. And I
Mhm.
did get like a good amount of attention even like in that spot. But then like last year and this year, like, oh, Kleiss just joined. I told him to hop on, Nolan. He's our other captain, so that'll be
Fashionably
good.
late. Fashionably late.
But no, just yeah, pouring into that those other guys more, and like just not focusing on just us, because it's like it's bigger than us. Like we obviously want to have success, and like obviously like go far in our own careers, but I think like it's bigger than us, like
Yeah.
it's being intentional with those guys who may not be strong in their faith or not know Jesus at all, like us like showing them that attention and like giving them the time of day like really does go a long way. So yeah, I really like what you said about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think
I
it's
like
easy
that.
too. I think it's easy too to like just kind of push those guys off too. Cause I mean, because there's guys that like on our team now that are like devout atheists. And so it's like it's tough to like really like find the way to like love those guys the right way. Like we talk about a lot with a couple of guys. It's just like we're still like in the process of figuring out like how to love those guys the right way. Cause it's like how do we love someone when they like condemn us almost for everything that we're doing and everything we believe in. So like that's something that we're struggling with, but like we've gotten better, and it's something that's cool because we all get to kind of go through it together and we get to learn that together. So I mean, yeah, it's never gonna be easy, but the better we get and the easier, or the better we get, the easier we'll get. But I don't think it's ever really gonna be easy, just because that's like it's hard. Ultimately, it's hard.
Those guys are tough too, but honestly, like, and I'd be curious, Cluter, with your guys' experience at Eden Prairie, it's like some of those guys you think are like the furthest away are the ones that are probably hurting the most or like struggling with something the most. And two, they're the ones that like when they do like figure it out and give their lives to the Lord, like they're the ones that are the most dangerous because they go like all in. They're like, holy cow, I know what the other side of this looks like. So like I'm gonna run after this. It's actually like I grew up Catholic, kind of grew up in the church, and like I had zero understanding what that relationship was. So as soon as I like flipped, it's like, well, there's no going back. So I think it's actually cool, like as hard as those relationships can be in the moment, sometimes those are the most powerful ones when you just keep kind of chipping away and understanding like, hey, you're just planting the seeds. Like God will do the work. God will be the one that actually opens the heart for them to know the Lord. Um, but yeah, I think that's really good information too, just from Chase's side of things, just this experience. But and honestly, dude, ask Tyler Garrity, ask him about Drake Michelson, the old youth pastor. Like Drake's stories about how he was prior to like knowing the Lord, like he was that wild guy. But then as soon as he said yes, now he's that wild guy for Jesus, and his entire friend group changed because of it. And a missionary in Somalia or something right now. Like the guy's the real deal. So I just like encourage you guys to not count anybody out, but just be faithful and where you feel like you're being led, like within that. So
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. And like something that I've noticed, like at least like just tryout started today, but like throughout like captain's practices and stuff the last couple of months, like I feel like I have tried to be like intentional with some of those guys, but then like pride almost gets in the way for them, and like they think of like we're all such like a tightly knit group, and like we've grown up together playing together. So then when like we try to be serious or like we can see something's wrong, like they want to try to hide it. And like maybe that's like the way I'm approaching it, but like what do you guys think of that? Like how do how do I still like be there for them? Like obviously kind of like back off a little bit, but like when pride's getting in the way, how do I still like yeah, be there for them, I guess.
Hmm. I
Like
think just like
yeah.
go ahead, Solly.
you're passing it off to me, eh? You're the guest
Well,
speaker. You're the
wait, did
guest
you just
speaker
talk?
tonight.
I thought you were talking.
No,
No,
no, it was.
that was
Oh,
me.
okay.
I was gonna give some more detail. I was
Oh,
like I don't know, just one guy just looked all like pissed off one day, and I was like, dude, what's going on? He's like, mind your own effing business, like, but like it's one of like my best buddies. I'm like, all right, like, yeah, it was not Johnny Tyler.
I would say almost in that situation, like maybe you see something going on and like you say that and you ask him like what's going on the first time and he says something like that to you first. I would like almost reapproach it the next day when you know like something's cooled off and just be like, hey, like is everything good? Like I know you weren't really having it the other day. Just want to check in, circle back around and see like if there's something going on that I can help you with. So I think like just showing up again kind of shows them that like you actually do care, and it'll make it easier for him to like actually open up to you the next time because you kind of came back around to that and still had it on your mind that like you wanted to kind of solve that and figure it out. So
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
what I
that's
got.
good. That's good.
Solely?
So you got anything or not? It's
Yeah.
just same thing.
Dude, I always got stuff up in the brain. Just shouldn't talk half the time. No, I think Chase hit that one super well. It's like knowing the time and the play. I think one thing specifically too, and I think it's cool just because we have like your captains on the call right now, is like I think part of my flaws at Omaha and even in high school at Eden Prairie and then into Muskegon was like trying to do too much for too many people. Where I was like trying to be the guy that knew everyone super, super well. And Cluter, I know we've talked about this already, but that idea of like almost spreading ourselves so thin that we're actually less effective now. And so a cool idea and just something to consider, like as you guys kind of gear up for season, is at Omaha we actually started splitting into like small groups. So myself being the captain and then having two assistants, the three of us just took a group of 8 guys. So instead of me looking at a team of, like 24 guys and trying to like be super intentional and get to know each and every one of them, there's still obviously like that common ground where you're hanging out with guys and meeting up with guys. So it wasn't like I was strictly focused on the 8, but like by only focusing on those 8, then it was like, okay, I got to know those guys at a way deeper level. So then you have that ability, like Chase said, where it's like you see a guy who's a little bit off, or you're like, hey, he's just not right. Like maybe he's got something going on with his girlfriend. Maybe, he did bad on a test at school and he's just pissed off. Like you can then address that because you know him well. But when you try to do that with each guy on your team, it can almost be overwhelming. So I'd almost challenge you guys as leaders to kind of divide and conquer a little bit and maybe pick the guys that you naturally have better relationships with and be like, hey, that's my guy I'm going to specifically look out for. And then within that, like obviously you see guys who are off, you step in, but that would be my maybe idea or approach on something like that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff for sure. Johnny, you got any questions? Otherwise, Halsey's got a question. So
Yeah, no, sorry, I just saw your text on the link. I was eating
you're
dinner,
good.
but
You're good. Just I'll get you caught up later.
yeah,
We
no worries.
got notes, so yeah,
Is
we'll get
Halsey
you
with
all
you
caught up.
too?
Yeah, I'm right here. Right for you.
Yeah.
No, I have a question for Nolan. So like, so Chase mentioned that when he got to Omaha, like there was already like a Bible study with 15 guys. Like, I assume obviously that is like fruit of like what kind of like you did or like what happened at Omaha during your time. Like, I guess like briefly, like, can you go over what that looked like and like discipling those guys and stuff and like your intentions with that?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that question only because like I was laughing this summer, like even in like praying, I'm just like Lord, why did you just blow it up now where there's half the team showing up? Because to be honest, when I was there, it was like maybe a handful of guys. And it was like you're kind of like polling guys to get there. And so what I will say, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but it might just I'll probably end up rambling. What I will say is that you don't understand how much your actions and words mean to guys. So do not underestimate the power. Or like that's why I loved what you guys were saying about like speaking to the guys on swing line and like addressing some of those guys who don't get that attention. Because even though I didn't necessarily see the fruit of it from a standpoint of like guys showing up to Bible study, I did see the fruit of it from like now I'm out of the picture. And there was like a guy that I sat next to in the locker room, and he said he's literally willing to go give church a try again because of my leadership. And so it had nothing to do with my faith. It had nothing to do, I shouldn't say nothing to do with my faith. It had everything to do with my faith. But from that standpoint of like, it wasn't me like preaching the gospel. It wasn't me even really inviting them to Bible study, but it was hopefully more by the way I just like lived, acted, cared for the guys in the room that they were like, gosh, like, hey, what kind of to Chase's point, like what's different about this guy? Um, so, and then honestly, dude, like I think one thing that we overlook in our faith all the time is just the power of prayer. And just letting prayer be at the forefront of everything we do. It's something I want to like continue growing in. But one thing I will say I did was like I'd go over to the locker room like late at night sometimes when nobody was there, and I would just go like stall by stall and just like pray for certain guys. Or if I knew something was going on, like an injury or something in their life, like I would like pray for that. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back and say I did that like all the time, but like just the power in that. Like there was two guys on my heart, and Chase will probably get a kick out of this, but one of them was Zach Erdahl, and the other one was Tyler Rollwagon. And so Rollwagon's a Bloomington guy, like tough, like he lost his dad from cancer when he was younger, just like, but he has this like super pure heart. And so he's a guy who hasn't turned yet and given himself to the Lord, but just my relationship that I was able to build with him, like we have a deep level of trust and friendship. Now take Zach Erdahl on the other hand, a guy who like, yeah, he'd come to like the prayer circle before games, but never showed up to like Bible study or anything, like is giving his life to the Lord. Now, like, is he all the way there? Who knows, man? That's not for me to say, but it's like he's taking steps there. But once again, it came from leadership. It didn't necessarily even come from faith. So I think it's amazing to hear like the revival that's going on at your guys' school and to know like, hey, that's from just speaking the gospel. But I also have to say, like, dude, it's from the way you guys are living it out, because that's the most attractive thing. It's from the way you treat other people. Like that's what gets noticed. So whether you see the fruit of it and you have a revival of your whole team, or it's just one other guy, hey, that one guy is the biggest win in the kingdom, and the kingdom's on their feet celebrating. So I would just say don't underestimate like what God's doing, because you might like it's a funny in my situation. Like I think it actually would have built up my pride if I would have had 14 people. So it's almost humbling to get out of it and then see so many people show up and you're like, ah, shoot, like 1 year too late. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff, Sully. And yeah, like that's definitely like something I battled with like last year with the Bible study and everything. Like, we've talked about like one guy showing up one day and then 30 guys one day and then it's like two guys the next, it's like it was like humbling, and now just to see like it all exploding, and we've got like three that have branched off from the one, and like, oh man, it's cool. So yeah, I'm excited to keep it going in juniors. I don't know if Johnny, if you got anything, or Halsey, it doesn't have to even be faith related. It can be, you can ask him about Omaha juniors, whatever.
No, yeah, I thought that stuff was really good. Um, so you guys are both in Omaha, right?
I
I
am so
yeah, I just finished my last year,
Yeah.
so I'm in Kansas City now, playing professional here.
Okay, that's sweet. Are you
grinding.
a freshman, Chase?
Yeah, freshman.
And did you guys like how did you guys meet then?
He was there for most of summer, so we just kind of got in
Okay.
touch with him skating and stuff. And then he serves at the church that I serve at now, Life Church in Omaha. So we kind of met through there too.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Gleiser, I can send you or send you guys the recording too, so that you guys can kind of see it back if you want. Because Chase kind of shared a little bit more of his story and stuff at the start.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but cool. Yeah. Any other questions from you guys for Chase or myself?
This one's a request of Tyler. Chase, are you a forward or D?
forward.
All right, so who's better, you or Sully?
Stat line says Sully.
Come on.
Chase has way more skill than I do.
I don't know.
Where'd you grow up, Chase?
Texas.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
And then what team was over there that you
The-
grew up playing for?
All Stars Elite. And then my senior year, I went to Shattuck. The
Oh, yeah.
dreaded Shattuck that no one likes in Minnesota.
You loser.
What did you do for juniors?
I played in Minot my first year and then Dubuque last year.
Nice. That's sweet.
Yep. Good place to be, Minot, North Dakota,
Yeah.
outside of the weather.
Cool.
That's cool. Appreciate you guys hopping on this call with us. Who organized this? Did Tyler get you guys on? or-
Sully.
Yeah, no, I did. So yeah, it'll be on the recording. But I started a company that basically helps athletes with the mental side of the game and just kind of growing in mental toughness and all that good stuff. So this is kind of part of what we do, is just some of these group calls monthly, as well as like individual calls, like one-on-one working with guys. So
Awesome. That's sweet.
and Cluter in the process of working with Twigs. We're trying to get your guys' squad lined up with something. So we'll see what
Yeah.
plays out.
That'd be cool. With like our whole group or just the captains or seniors or
Yeah,
You know,
I'm thinking we do it like either before we start like batch Monday or like during batch Mondays, like we'd do it.
Do
Or
what?
we'd hop on like a group call, Johnny.
yeah,
Like
I like
or
that.
something. Oh, that'd be sick.
Like once a month or something or like weekly or
yeah, honestly, it's just kind of finding whatever that rhythm is for you
Yeah.
guys. So, if like weekly sometimes feels like too much, or even like our travel schedule is a little bit all over the place sometimes here in KC. So, yeah, I would say probably at least every other week, or, yeah, I don't know. We have a lot of ideas bouncing around. So it's really like whatever you guys feel you need to just like be supported, to kind of be at your best and feel good with the season. So,
okay, for sure. Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
cool. Awesome. Any more questions for Chaser before we bounce off here?
I think we're good. That was all really good info though. Thank you, Chase.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thanks for having
Good
me.
luck. Good luck with the rest of your season. And hopefully we'll chat soon.
Yep, you guys too.
Yeah,
Go win
appreciate
a
it.
state title.
Well do.
Go. Cool, fellas. Thanks for hopping on. We're
Yeah.
touch base here soon.
For
Yeah,
sure.
sounds good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Sully.
Go. Later.